set of keys I had in the garage, just so I could get in the car.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Ward 4 Neighborhood Advisory Board. It is Thursday, July 21st at 6 p.m. I would like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, if we all please stand. Corey, can you lead us?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
No.
I'd like to formally call the meeting to order. We do have time for public comment. It is limited to 3 minutes. If there's anyone who would like to make a public comment.
Excuse me, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Did you do roll call?
I did not do roll call. Why would I want to do roll call? Just takes all the challenge out of it.
I'm
Okay.
trying to be good, so.
I know, thank you. We have 2 new people.
Absolutely. Renee Kelly,
That's me.
Richard Simmons,
Here.
Lori Bond,
Present.
John Briscoe,
Here.
Brian Harvey,
Here.
Victoria Luck, Mark Miranda,
Here.
Jared Souther,
Here.
did I butcher it?
Souther.
Jared Souther, John White. Present. And Councilmember Weber is also present, and we have a quorum.
All right. Yes, sir.
I wanted to talk
Can you
about,
please announce, say your name?
my name is Pat, and I was concerned about the 3-story apartment complex that we're talking about putting next to a veterinary hospital. Is that a place for her to discuss that?
You have to just speak to them.
Okay,
I don't know, but is it one of the,
there was a
That's my-
project that was supposed to be a 3-story apartment complex put on Northfield Boulevard. The Plan Commission at this point has nixed, but I'm concerned that if you appeal it, that they're going to end up getting it across the street there. And there is no infrastructure for that project at this time. So am I in the right spot to bring this up, or?
Yes, Madam Chair,
yeah,
if I may. We brought it up at the last
what
meeting.
John was saying.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear
No,
that.
it's-
I'm sorry, John, I apologize.
No, it's fine. If the city of Reno already denied it though, don't they have to appeal and then there's a formal process again, correct?
And why don't you respond to this so that everybody understands who talks and who doesn't, who can't talk?
Sure. So typically with public comment, you're more than welcome to bring up whatever item you'd like to. We limit it to 3 minutes. We'll ask you at the end after your public comment to fill out a form, just so I have your contact information, put that on the record. But you, in general, you can speak to anything you like, but you should be addressing the entire board.
Well, I am.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know, I'm not saying you're doing anything wrong. I'm just letting you know the process.
Can I ask a question? So do I understand from what you said that the planning commission rejected it?
That is my understanding. Yeah, that's why I watched some of the meeting.
Bonnie, could I assume that then the process is it could only be appealed to the city council?
I can't.
Can't be appealed to us.
Carter, are you familiar with this project?
I know.
Well, I wasn't asking specifically about this project, just the process.
Process of what happens.
Yeah, so the planning commission, when they received and provided a decision, that decision could be appealed within 10 calendar days of the application. So I believe this project is within the appeal period.
But it gets appealed to the city council, not to us.
Right.
Okay.
Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
I think you're more curious as to what the process is.
Well, yeah, I want to know if it got appealed to the city council or not. I mean, I would like to know if,
It has not been appealed as of yet.
all right, that helps.
And I think they have a due date of tomorrow, 20, I can't say that. The due date for the appeal is, they need to do it by tomorrow.
Okay,
And I have notion that they may not do that.
thank you, Bonnie. Appreciate that.
I would love to tell you more. I can tell you more.
That's great. Yes, we can. Okay, are there any other public comments? Okay, moving on, approval of the agenda.
Agenda, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The agenda is approved as is. I don't think we have minutes, do we?
No, Sarah.
Oh, no, they're here. Do I have a motion to approve the April 21st minutes?
I'll make that motion. Second.
Jared, John Briscoe. All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes are approved for April 21st, 2022. Council liaison report.
Madam Chair, if I may, the lieutenant's here. I don't know if he has to go, so we may want to move down to B1.
I don't know that we want to move you up, sir?
Just reviewing it, because I had this
Are you okay for a few minutes?
handed it to me today, so thank you, I
Okay.
appreciate that.
I mean, Lieutenant, you tell me,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
want to be respectful for you, so you tell us if you want to go now and be on your way, or if you can wait a few minutes. I'm sorry, Madam Chair, that's your
You're fine, Corey.
decision. Lieutenant, like I said, you tell us what you would like, because if you need to leave, we can certainly move you up. If you can wait, we'll get to you as soon as we can.
I'll be fine for a moment, but thank you.
All right, sir. Again, I apologize,
That's
Madam
okay.
Chair. I was out of line.
Are we ready?
If you are, I apologize.
That's okay. Council liaison report.
That comes for me. And it's great to be here and see almost every member is present. And then I don't know if you all know that we're losing Mr. Miranda. I think this is your last meeting.
Yes, yes.
So he's been great to work with and serve well on this board. I'm excited for your new venture, but I'm also sad because there was so many things that you worked on and done, and always at the coffee and at the coffees that we had, and just helpful. So just thank you so much for your service. And
Thank you,
I appreciate that in many ways, because you also serve on our City of Reno's SAVE. And I hope that if you get an opportunity that you will share what SAVE is, because a lot of times we don't all know what those things are.
Right.
So I would love you to share that maybe at your opportunity in the agenda.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
Thank
I'd
you.
love that. A couple of things that you may not know is yesterday at our council meeting, we moved forward on our new Moana Springs swimming pool. And so it's really exciting for those of you that may not have been paying attention or even hearing about it. It's going to be a 50-meter pool. There's going to be all sorts of different activities. I think this pool has to be open 24/7 because they have so many things that they want to have going on. A soaking pool, meeting rooms, just all sorts of great stuff at this venture. And the good part is they will break ground possibly next year and hopefully be open in the summer of 2024. So it's really exciting. And I did speak a little bit yesterday about it because after all the years that I've lived in this ward and out in the North Valleys, we need something like that too. But for now, I mean, it's costing a lot of money and people know that. So I am going to work hard, and I've already said that I'm going to do this, to how do we get our kids to be able to get to the pool? Not everybody can get out of town, you know, with childcare and certain issues, but there's going to be some ways that people will be able to utilize their kids going on a bus of some sort, and I'll just say that, and transportation to and from the location. So we're working on that because we want the whole community to be able to use it. For those who don't know that live in the area, Sun Valley Pool is always open, And that's what a lot of us have used for many years with our families. So that's always a good place, local place out here as well. Out in the North Valleys and even close for the folks that are down lower, you know, they have their pools that we have Evelyn Mount. And that's a great thing. And it's always been a great thing.
And we also have trainer, excuse me.
And we still have Trainer. And then Sun Valley is close for the North Valleys folks. So I wanted to share that. Secondly, for those, if you haven't heard, there is something I think is kind of fun in town this weekend. And that is on Saturday and Sunday, the Americana buttons and political trivia items. And it's a free thing and it's on Saturday and Sunday. I don't have all the hours with me. I'm sorry, I didn't grab it, but they spoke yesterday at the meeting and it looks like it's a fun event to go. It's actually their conference, an annual conference that they have happens to be in Reno. Many of these people that are in attendance at this conference, and it's open to the public, are coming into Reno for the first time ever. So that's always really exciting to have, you know, new folks coming in.
Where is it at?
It's at the Atlantis. So you can go online. I think there might be information.
There's information online. I'm a political paraphernalia. I have like 200 buttons. It's Friday and Saturday, and I think it's 9 to 4 both days.
Oh, okay. I thought the hours were different.
It might be different on Friday, but I know for sure they're not open on Sunday. I was
Okay.
very bummed about
Because they're probably gone. Okay. So it's great. And it, is there any other information you can give? Like how they can see what the.
If you just search up APIC Reno on Google, you'll find more information about their website.
Is there a cost to attend?
I believe it's free. And you can get, if you have any items, you can get them appraised.
Okay, and then there's I don't know how exciting it is for all of you, but I think it's really exciting. We have a concurrent meeting tomorrow. It's online and it's a meeting with Reno, Sparks, and Washoe County. And we have a good agenda and an agenda that I think some of you will be really happy to hear about. And that is our fire department and how we can, one of the items is talking about all of us looking at consolidating again. So, and that's a conversation that will be held just for conversation. And then if they move to do so, then they'll be picking the managers and the people and how it's going to work. So that's kind of a good one. And then on Monday, July 25th, we have a joint meeting with our charter committee. So those of you that know that the city of Reno is operated under a charter, it's a good meeting, and the charter committee has been meeting for about 8 months now, 9 months. And so they have come up with ideas and things that they want to see change in our city's charter. And then at that meeting, we will hear all the information, and then the council will accept the report. And then at a later meeting, we will make decisions and have more communication about the things that they're asking us to do. So that's good, interesting stuff for you all. And just thank you again for all of your work and for being here and being committed to our community.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Madam Chair, if I may. Ms. Bonnie, first of all, I would like to welcome you back. You were sorely missed last month. And also, if you would pass for me, I'm speaking for me, pass my congratulations to Ms. Dewar. I know she spearheaded the pool, so please offer my congratulations to her as well as your colleagues on the council, please.
And you know what? I did just that already.
Okay.
Not necessarily from you, but from all of us.
Okay.
That all the work that Councilwoman Dewar has done, and there's others as well.
Right.
You know, our staff and everything else, but she has been right there.
Like I said, spearheaded is from what I understand.
Yes.
So.
And then we had great agencies and foundations that donated has given us money to be able to get here. So Pennington Foundation is one of them, and there's others. So it's great.
Anybody else? Okay, on to staff liaison report, please.
Yeah, I just got one thing. Amy asked me to give you an update on the placemaking study that the city is doing. So the city of Reno is working with Gale, which is an urban design firm. The goal is to reimagine downtown Virginia Street so it becomes an everyday place for everyone. We need community input in order to accomplish this. So they have a two-phase process to engage with the community. Right now, they're doing phase one, so they're doing information gathering. As many people as possible we need to take, so we have an understanding of what the community would like. We need all of that by mid-August. Once they get to phase two, that's community engagement. So Gail will develop a draft vision based on the survey results and bring it forward to the community to get feedback. Once that happens, they will get their community feedback and use any of those changes and be presenting that to council in December. And if you'd like to provide your feedback on the future of Virginia Street, you can go to reno.gov/engage.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
may I ask a question?
Of course, sir.
Sir, and I'm saying this respectfully, would you please introduce yourself? Because I'm not sure I know you, and so I would just like you to.
Sure. I'm Nick Coney. I'm covering for Amy today. I'm her counterpart. Normally I work with three of the other council members, Councilmember Dewar, Breckus, and Reese. Amy was kind enough to cover for me last month with the neighborhood advisory board that I was not able to make. So now I am doing my part in covering.
Returning the
So
favor.
this is like a promotion for you. to a better role.
I will tell you, of course, we all got the emails, so we know about you, but I don't know you. So thank you very much, sir. Madam Chair, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, business items. Reno Police Department quarterly report,
I know I was given a quarterly report of this board
10 minutes ago.
about 2 hours ago, so I tried to do my best.
You're fine.
Previously, I was on wards 1, 2, 3, and 5. Nick can vouch for me.
I can vouch for that.
Well, now you have the best. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Right, that's what I do. So,
Would you like to sit down here so that everybody can hear you?
Yeah. Or you can come up, just whatever you'd like to do, sir. He's like, no.
I mean, you might want to rest and you can sit right here. And I'll sit over here, so everybody can.
usually I don't kick council out of their chair.
Well, but she offered, Lieutenant. so
You
you-
all heard, so when the chief.
We've already got them on the line.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so what I did is I pulled up the stats, some things to consider. We used to have an analyst that did this for us. That person has since moved on to a different position, a different city. So now we have an intern that provides this for us. The kid's doing a great job, but he is an intern and it's raw data. One of the things that I brought up since I was doing all the other NAVs was the map that he was providing. Didn't give any streets or any reference. So here's a great map of somewhere, but nobody knew what it was talking about. So he has since added that. So if you, I think it provides this in the packet, if I'm not mistaken. Now you can at least see where the context of the person. Before, there were some times that happened somewhere. Maybe that's.
It might not be in this packet, but I'll make sure that.
So food for thought there, just trying to make that. Taking a look at what the stats that were provided to me for this go around. Thankfully out here in Ward 4, you're not seeing as many of the crimes against persons type of stuff that some of the other wards have. Primarily, it's looking for property crimes from commercial burglary, residential burglary, and vehicle burglary. See, I'm looking at the right one. Really no significant jump. I mean, when you consider the influx of population, so nothing jumped out that made me say, oh my God, what's going on there? I did look and noted that 2 of the stolen vehicles in the 8,000 block Oval Station happening on the 24th of June, then again on the 26th. These people are neighbors. That goes with DOP up on Gardella, the apartments up there, the 4,000 block of Gardella, 2 different locations. And then also a vehicle burglary, and then 2 vehicle burgs and 1 destruction of property. All 3 of those came in the 1700 block of Mustango Drive. And I thought that the DOP, I'm sure, was originally a vehicle burg that they just didn't get in because you got them on the 22nd, the 29th, and the 23rd. So why do I bring all those up? I know that Lieutenant Connolly was looking into providing information for a neighborhood watch type of issue. Is that correct? If it's not happening at your house and it is happening at your neighbor's house, it's very beneficial to you, obviously to your neighbor, to speak up and say something because, as I just illustrated, the following day or the following week, now it's over at your house if something wasn't accomplished to solve it. So, I mean, that's literally in the statistics right there of what you can do to assist and make your neighborhood, but specifically your own property, a little bit safer. So that was the one that really jumped out at me in that very short amount of time. Questions? Yes, sir.
No, it's a really simple question. Do you have a perception as whether it's going sort of to stay in a certain level, it's increasing or decreasing?
Specific to this word?
Yes.
It is definitely increasing. I've got the statistic here to prove it, but I take it in the context of increasing in consideration between June of this year, June of last year. The COVID throws a wrinkle in everything we look at. COVID throws a wrinkle in everything. So you obviously have that waiver there. But none of the numbers that I'm looking at, residential burg from 6 to 9, robberies from 0 to 2, vehicle burg from 6 to 8. Those are not significant numbers. I will look at some of these reports sometime and go, wow, what's going on down there?
Right.
And I backtrack the number and I go, oh, I know what's going on. This guy has been light duty, so there's no officer assigned to that beat at that time. He's unable to attend to it, so it's people as they can coming over to that beat type of thing. So
Gotcha.
nothing that jumps out right now,
Thank you.
other than normal, getting bigger, Reno. Yes, sir.
So Jared Souther, I live up off Red Rock. The question that arises, we had our meeting the initial meeting about Neighbor Watch in May. The question came up there as far as how is employment or recruiting for your department going? And I guess the follow-up question is, how does it look for this summer? How are things ramping up for you for increasing number of officers?
The chief made an announcement the other day. I believe it was ARPA funds for hiring of, I want to say 5, but one specifically is a position for a recruiting officer. Up until this point, it's been if someone was interested in it. Sometimes it was the public affairs officer kind of interwoven. Sometimes it was a sergeant who was interested in it. They specifically are making a position for recruiting because we absolutely need it. We don't have near the amount of people trying to be police officers these days that were previously. I tested 30 some times to become a law enforcement officer, whereas some of those times were with thousands of other candidates for the same test. This time, last time I heard, we were probably getting about 200 applications when it would open up. This used to be a 2,000 application type of place. As the economy changes, that tends to ebb and flow, and I've seen that over my 25 years. So there's consideration there. But of course, the recent events and different things, different perspective changes people's opinion of whether or not I want to do that job.
Okay.
Don't believe everything they see in the news because the news reports what the news wants to report.
I appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you. So they hired they made the position for the recruiter, looking into that. As far as how the summer's going, we are extremely busy. Like I said, I had 15 minutes to prepare for this one. The last couple of days I've been dealing with the issue with the officer's guard and a prisoner at the hospital. Staffing different meetings that were assigned to tasks to staffing those. We have a huge issue going on right now with the street racing and the sideshows. The sideshow part is really a new thing for Reno. That's migrated from California. And getting officers that aren't already on duty or on overtime covering other officers that are gone to come and work those positions is very difficult. So.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Madam Chair, if I may. For the record, Corey Bond, Lieutenant, first of all, and I will just piggyback what Jared said, and I think we can all agree, we do appreciate what your department is doing. We all know that the budget is tight, and so we do all appreciate it. And again, I think we can all agree, we do appreciate the efforts that you are doing. My other question is, I know that Chief Soto announced that he is leaving. Has he decided on a date that you're aware of?
Not a specific date. My understanding is somewhere in the neighborhood of January.
Oh, okay. All right.
I may be in error of that, but that's what I believe.
All right. Well, thank you again. Thank you very much, sir.
And when I was trying to make my joke to slide into the council chair.
No, you did quite well.
Matthew Peterson, I'm a lieutenant for the Reno Police Department. I don't think I introduced myself. Been there for.
Well, I'm glad you said it because I was going to ask, because I did not want to be disrespectful. And I'm pretty sure I know what sergeant stripes are, but I wanted to make sure. So thank you, Madam Chair.
John White. You mentioned, and the news has repeated that. I know they don't like to give locations because of the attraction that might include. What are sideshows? I don't really understand that aspect of it.
So one of the things we try to do is differentiate. We've always had street racing.
Yeah.
We've always had street racers. This word is very familiar. Moana and Lear.
I used to commute that way and I called them in myself and ran into them. I echo and more very popular.
As a baby copper, I was assigned sheriff of Stead a few times, more than a few bids. So I've dealt with them as well. We have huge warehouse districts all over this city, this NAB and other NABs. Currently, right now, more of our issue is down in the Double Diamond area with all the warehouses down there. So that's where we go from one location to the Bulls parking lot down in South Virginia to Apple Fort, to over where the FedEx distribution center is over McCarran. We eventually chase them to Sparks. Sparks does not like that. So they try and chase them back to us. Blah, blah, blah. To answer the question about sideshows. So the street racers, we've dealt with them for 30 years, probably longer than that. The sideshows are more of a new phenomenon from California, where they basically primarily will take over an intersection. So a large crowd shows up. We've had one, we estimated to be over 500 people. A lot of spectators, primarily spectators that show up. And then there's people that you take in the middle of the intersection and start spinning their cars, doing the drifting around in circles, feet away from the spectators.
I see evidence of that a lot of places.
Yeah, I watched it this past weekend. Unfortunately, back to the staffing question, we were able to scrounge together 8 officers, sergeants, lieutenants. Usually lieutenants are doing something like that, but this one was one of them. Dealing with that last Friday night. And then I think we had 5 total dealing with it on Saturday night. There is some other plans that I can't divulge in the future to address that, but we have to get the amount of officers that it takes to deal with 500 people that are all intent on doing something else. The spectating is illegal. There is a charge for that. Obviously, the participation in this dangerous event where you could, just one slide would slide right into a whole crowd of people and kill or maim many people. People are hanging out the car windows. In that, we have people firing off fireworks at us and at other participants. It's just a new phenomenon for us, so we're trying to figure out how to deal with it.
Well, I know some communities nationwide have worked at developing a place where it's safe, like getting a drag strip built somewhere, finding an abandoned area that can be controlled, and inviting people if they want to do that under restrictions to do something like that without the irresponsibility of
It's the first I've ever heard of something like that. I mean, you have legal places to race here locally, Friendly and Fallon raceways and stuff like that. Specifically in Reno, I don't see where that would be viable because of all the liability issues associated with something like that. I mean, it is dangerous behavior.
Lieutenant, I wanted to ask because just to piggyback what John said, I did notice on the news the other night. My question is, how did they take over the Sierra Foods parking lot on Peckham and Virginia? That's where they showed it the other night. And I just don't understand how they could take over a section and not hit a bunch of cars that were already in that parking lot.
I don't know that specific
Okay.
location.
Okay,
An empty parking lot, 500 people, and I have 20 cops on duty for the
Yeah.
entire city. I
right,
just can't dedicate those resources to
Right.
that. Even if I did the entire department, the entire shift at that time, then I would have to bring in another law enforcement entity to take care of the normal police business while we address that problem.
right,
And that
right,
goes up to a much higher level, trying to do something like that.
right.
So can I just jump in? I wanted you to all know that there's been discussion. It was kind of sideline discussions about we need to bring this item back up to at a council meeting. But council members are very concerned about this, and specifically one that you just spoke about, Councilwoman Dewar. And I had a discussion about this yesterday. So it's interesting because it is something that is really bad in our communities. And it's happening on Golden Valley too. You didn't mention Golden Valley, but Golden Valley, I hear from all the neighbors about, what's happening on Golden Valley with the high school there, So anyway, one of the things I wanted to say is, number one, City of Reno, and especially me, I want you to know how much we appreciate our law enforcement, our City of Reno. And I don't even know how people can work in this environment. I don't know how you can do this, because it is amazing that you pull off each day. And I know it's got to be hard. It's emotional for me.
Can be taxing.
But we appreciate you. And sometimes I think that we don't tell you enough, but hopefully we are telling you that how much we appreciate each and every one of you. But secondly to that, I want to share something, because that's why we need our neighborhood watch program to be successful. And I'm going to say it again. We had our last meeting and that was really good. That was an initiation meeting. We learned a lot from that. But that's not the end all, because we need to be a support team in our neighborhoods, door to door. We need to be knowing who our neighbors are. We've got to get this program together. And I think that we have the desire to do so. It's just going to take time, as we all know. But we do not have any of these programs going anywhere, because you have to have a sign, and the City of Reno has not. I mean, if you have a sign out on a street and you don't know your neighbor, you know that there is not a neighborhood watch program going in that area. And unfortunately, the City of Reno has not had a good neighborhood watch program for many years. And so I'm saying something that he may not want to say, but I've already talked to the chief, and he knows that, he's been helpful for us to be able to even have this program. But the hard part is we don't even have the staff. That's their hard part. They don't have the staff. So we're coming up with some ideas how we can make this program work. And we do have another meeting that'll be scheduled sometime in September, October-ish, to get more people to come out again and kind of learn. But from the last meeting, and I don't know if anyone shared with you, some good stuff came out of, and I know there's two of you, I think, that were at the meeting for sure, that some good stuff came out of that when the lady over in your neighborhood, Jared, was talking about all the problems, and they were right on top of it the day after, and working with her and the community. She had a lot of good information that she was sharing, and she was very scared to be in her own home with her children. So it was, and I know there might be others that were at that same meeting. And so things did happen.
Yeah.
And we need to continue to work at that. And we can be the best help to law enforcement, Reno Police Department. The county has a good program going and we can work with them as well. So I just appreciate you so much.
You'll be able to get a lot better result should you have a crime issue. Your car was burglarized, or something happened, your business, whatever. Realistically, the more that you can provide to the police, the better. Video footage, photographs. My neighbor, he's got this video. Go get it from the neighbor if you're in that type of terms with your neighbor. Anything that you can provide that the police don't have to go chase down is going to be that much more. People say, well, that's the officer's job. You're right, it is, but I don't have enough officers to do it. So the reality is it's probably not going to occur. If it's important to you enough to report it to me and want to get it solved, anything you can give me makes it better, an opportunity for me to help you and get it solved. I'd love nothing better than to arrest bad guys. I don't do that anymore. I'm not the real police. But when I was, that was fun. But I needed the assistance to get that job done. So.
Lieutenant, like Monty said, we just appreciate that you are doing whatever it is you are doing. And I mean that respectfully, of course.
That's right. Anybody else?
Thank you, Lieutenant.
So now the personal part. My dad built the first house on the east side of Red Rock, past the fire station, back in the 80s. I'm a North Valley's kid, so I finally made it to the right now. Literally at all the other ones other than this one.
And like I said, now you did the rest, now you did the best.
Watch this, as soon as something like that comes out.
Well, yeah, but I said it, you didn't. Thank you, Lieutenant.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. I remember when there was a stoplight on 395 right here in the valley. When my dad bought a VHS player, we used to rent movies. Rayleighs, they had like 20 of them.
We didn't even have a Rayleigh.
Yeah, I remember Rayleighs, so.
I know, but we didn't have a Rayleigh.
Right. Okay, on to B2, development projects. First up is B21 LDC 22000077 Peavine Employment Center, MSPR. I don't know.
Where do you want to sit here? I can stand, I can move the podium over. Okay. Again, I don't want to ask you to move. Oh.
No, that's a mercy.
There you go. Thank you, Councilwoman Weber.
May I just bring out your presentation?
Yeah, you're in the way. And only and remember your name for the record. Thank you.
Oh, I even get to work at myself. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. Sure does. Okay, so I'm Stacey Huggins with Wood Riders, representing the applicant on this project. The Peavine Employment Center. Some of you may remember this project. I was here back in December on this same property. So just for those of you that may not have been here at that meeting or aren't familiar with this project, this is a 210-acre conglomeration of properties. The properties, is there a pointer on there? The properties on the north side, there are 12 properties on the south side of Trail Drive. Sorry, there's a couple properties on the south side of Trail Drive and a couple properties on the north side of Trail Drive. Those properties were in the county and were recently annexed into the city. So these properties have now been combined together to bring one project on encompassing all 13 parcels. When I was here back in December, this is the exhibit we were talking about. And again, as a refresher for some of you, we brought forward the annexation. We brought forward a master plan amendment, which we designated the properties in purple to mixed employment and also parks, greenways, and open space to preserve the drainage ways that are on this site. This project also included rezone to SPD, specific plan district. And as part of that specific plan district, we were able to bring forward that hatched area up there in the northwest corner, which is intended to be for commercial and retail type uses. So this really is the concept behind what we're presenting in this project really is to address a jobs housing balance in the North Valleys. We've heard it over and over again that there is a need for commercial and retail. Unfortunately, without commercial or without employment and industrial on a site like this, you cannot, the cost to build something like commercial without that support business, those support jobs just doesn't work. So what we are bringing forward tonight, did I do that? Okay, there we go. Are two things. We're going through a major site plan review to allow disturbance to the major drainage ways and also to allow cuts in excess of 20 feet and fills in excess of 10 feet. So starting with the major drainage ways, those are designated parks, greenways, and open space. The only impact to those as a part of what we're bringing forward here is the roads. The drainage ways that exist in those, the drainage that exists in those drainage ways now will continue to flow north under 395 to the existing facilities as they do today. The road will be designed with culverts so that that flow continues to go in that direction. And then also they'll be designed so that wildlife can continue to safely move through those areas. As a result of development, there will be no increased flow or negative impacts to the adjacent or downstream properties. Again, because those drainage ways exist, the project has been designed to have detention and retention basins designed to meet the city's requirement of 1.3 to 1. So all those standards have been incorporated into the grading design and the drainage ways analysis. So specifically looking at the cuts and fills, I put together, actually our engineer put together a really great color exhibit to show the difference in the cuts and fills. And so in the city of Reno, cuts in excess of 20 feet in depth require a special use permit. Fills in excess of 10 feet in height require a special, or major site plan review. They changed that recently, so I'm still saying SUP, but it is major site plan review. So you can see on this image, the items in light green represent the cuts. And in the middle of that pad A, which would be the big area in the lower left-hand corner. Yep, that one. So you can see that slightly pea-ish color green. I want to point that out because right now that's already disturbed. So the previous property owners of the property had a permit to it's a borrow site. So they've been taking dirt out of that. They have already disturbed that site. So it's not an undisturbed natural piece of property is what I really want to focus on for that. But in addition to that already disturbed areas, we do have some areas that will exceed that 20 feet in depth. The maximum cut, which is in the in that pad A, would be in the lower right-hand corner. That's a cut of 55 feet, which is needed to really level off that site. But the tracks are still going to be above that. So it's really not going to impact the view shed looking up and over. And then you can see for the fills, we have a couple places where there's fill on the site. The biggest area of fill is that blue area along the road, yep, where your pointer is, all along the extension of Red Rock Road. And that area is also about 55 feet in height. And the key to that, and it's when you talk about 55 feet in cut and 55 feet in fill, they are anticipated to balance, right? The dirt comes out of one place and goes in another. So as this project is actually goes through final design, we anticipate that it will balance, the earthwork will balance on the site. And then we can also reduce some of the grading by bringing in retaining walls as the individual paths are developed. And then anything that's disturbed that isn't built on will be revegetated with either formal landscaping or a native seed mix. And just for a little bit of so that you know the developer in this project is Panatoni. If you're familiar with the other projects they've done on Virginia Street, you know that they take a lot of quality and pride in their projects. So you can expect to see something similar to that in terms of their treatment and how they handle development of this site. So that's my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions. The engineer is here if you have any questions for him as well.
Please.
Is this gonna have a big impact on, I see it's right next to 395 on traffic?
John, can you identify yourself?
I'm sorry.
Can you identify
Oh,
yourself?
John Briscoe, sorry. Wait a minute, let me look.
So there will definitely be an impact at the section and also some impact on 395. We think that as part of this opportunity to bring jobs here, you'll actually see less traffic going out of the valley because now there's some more opportunities for jobs here, right? It's kind of a reverse commute. As part of the approval of the SPD, the developers have to do some additional studies with NDOT. And so there will be quite a bit of analysis of the Red Rock interchange to make sure that it's designed to accommodate the additional traffic, both in passenger and truck traffic.
Thank you.
Sure.
So I'm Jared. I was here in December. I remember that there were, at that time, maybe 3 pads shared on the map. Looks like pad D might be new, or maybe I just don't remember it. But we talked about the retail side, and even, you know, again, Pantone, are they looking at, after approval in the future meeting, are they looking at this year's a move dirt moment, or is it going to be probably next 12 months?
It's probably not this year, and maybe not even next year to move dirt.
Okay.
The timing of all of this, it's really such a long lead time when we put together items like this.
Okay.
I would anticipate that the first phase of the grading work, which will include the road and probably the pad A, which is the big pad, probably happens within 18 months of final approval. But when I say that, I want to clarify that we still have to go to regional. We are scheduled to go to regional on the master plan and the zoning in August.
Okay.
And then we have to go through hearings on this project. So I don't expect to be through approvals on the entitlement side until maybe November at best case. So next year, late next year, maybe.
The other question I had was, because of the height difference between the rail and the pads, they're not going to be businesses that could have availability to use the rail for offshoot or whatever.
No, there isn't an opportunity to
Okay.
take advantage of the rail there.
Just checking.
Yeah.
Brian Harvey, you were talking about migration of wildlife. Can you elaborate a little more on that?
So we did, I can give you a little bit based on the major drainage ways analysis we did. So we did an analysis which requires us to reach out to NDOW and have discussions with the Nevada Department of Wildlife about any habitats. And when we did that, there were no critical habitats found on the drainage ways, but we do know that there is wildlife out there, given the fact that it's so close to Peavine. And so by putting in the culverts, we can allow them to continue to make their way. Now, in total transparency, right, we don't want to encourage them to get out on the highway and put, animals or people in jeopardy of that. So we're not stopping them from going. We are not sizing them to encourage migration out onto the highway. If they naturally go that way, there are alternative ways around it, but they could also go through the drainage ways if that's their current path. They won't be fenced. The drainage ways will be open. I mean, it can move around however they need.
What are the sizes of the drainages then, just for our clarification?
I don't know. Do you know, Gabe, how big those culverts are?
Well, if you're gonna size a box culvert for wildlife, it'll probably be 10 feet tall, but 12 feet wide. Roughly.
Fair
I
enough.
don't know that they need to be for the flows. So
Right.
that's something that we'll have to work on as we kind of pin this down. But the flows in those drainage ways don't require a significant sized culvert.
Thank you.
Somebody's always got to ask a dumb question. What's the
And you
hash
and
mark?
you are who?
Left-hand corner.
You are who?
Oh, Dick Simmons, sorry.
That's okay. So the hatched area in the upper corner is reserved to be for commercial or retail uses.
Okay,
We called it out specifically in the handbook that it could not have employment or industrial because we felt like right next to the off ramps and the interchange was more appropriate for commercial or retail type uses. And the
Okay.
handbook really calls out specific uses there.
thank you. I just couldn't find any explanation of what that meant.
No
Thank you.
problem.
Any other questions?
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
See, that wasn't too bad. Stacy.
No,
B 2.2 LDC 22-00085 Mountain View Estates, Unit 5 zoning map amendment.
Thank you.
Please introduce yourself.
Of course. Thank you. Definitely set up here.
I know you used to.
Right. First time I sat at the map for presentation. Good evening. My name's John Krupatik. I'm with KLS Planning and I'm representing Rock Fitzgerald. He is in the audience with me as well. He's a home builder, developer. He has done a lot of development in this particular area. You see on this vicinity map. As the owner of Northern Nevada Homes. So this is the last phase of what would go on in the planning and development of that part of the city. You see MVE 1, 2, and 3 is complete. MVE 4 is under construction, and now we are in the advanced planning stage for MVE 5, which would close out the development in this area. So the request this evening is about the zone change from single-family residential SF11 to multifamily residential 14 on this 33-acre parcel. Immediately adjacent to the south is University Ridge boundary. You can see that there's a good reference point. Current city master plan, I always like to go through this in the context of zoning and master plan conformance because it's fundamental to zone change. This is the mixed neighborhood designation in the master plan. There's the existing zoning. So I'll toggle through these. You can see again, MX, which allows for SF11, current zoning, and it allows for the proposed MF14 zoning. As the request that we have at the city today. Go through those again. So there's the MX. There is current SF11, and there is the MF14. I think this is important to the discussion, even though it's not zone change specific. People are always asking about circulation. And so we have a master plan for circulation. And you can see that newly approved road alignment. We worked with that. We kind of straightened out the road where it connects to the existing road that goes into MVE4. And then you can see it goes a little bit to the east and then jets up to the north into that Ferrari McLeod or into that roundabout and then into Ferrari McLeod. That's the idea there for the circulation to the north. Going south, there's an approved Comstock Phase 2, and that also shows a connection further south. Well, obviously, we have to prove up that there's adequate capacity in the roadway network, north and south, to make this project work. This is, again, all zoning discussion, so I've just got the purpose of the zoning districts noted here. You can see that SF11 is existing. I'm going to focus on the MF14 as proposed is intended to accommodate single-family residential. In addition, low-density multifamily such as duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, townhomes, and small multifamily secondary uses of which we're not really considering, or Mr. Fitzgerald is not. He's talking about doing either triplexes or fourplexes for this property. It can also serve as a transition to higher density multifamily, mixed use and non-residential. Important in that statement is part of the reason that staff, I believe, we had a good meeting with staff at the planning department. If you look at adjacent boundary to the north, that is all industrial. This would be a transition from industrial to multifamily and then to single family further south. That's the idea. And a little bit about the master plan again. We as a community spent so much time and effort and money on getting the new master plan done. It's not new anymore. It's at least a couple of years old. If you look at the MX characteristics, I'd like to walk through specific to industrial. There's a typo there. Specific to the MX neighborhood. Typically 18 to 14 dwellings per acre, primarily single-family detached and duplexes on smaller lots. Characteristics provide a mix of housing options and densities. That's what this applicant wishes to do. New neighborhoods are encouraged to integrate a range of housing types as well as neighborhood commercial centers. There's no commercial intended in this zone change. It's going to be a different product in single family. And then typically located in areas within walking distance. That's kind of existing amenity type of bullet point. Conforming district, as I mentioned, is MF14 as it does, MF14 proposed does align with the MX designation and the Reno master plan. And then I wanted to show you this photos because it's the one issue that we've agreed upon with staff that we would take care of with some care. Rock outcroppings are a big deal in the planning process. That's just a Google map. You can see, I hopefully see the reference point there as it relates to MVE4. Actually, I'm going to go back to this so you can kind of see that angle point. Right. Does this pointer work?
No, but I can try to point for you.
No, there you go. Thank you. That one there. So now I'm going to go back to the Zoom and you see it there. And then I think a more meaningful depiction of it is here. A little further away looking at it, we're just being really transparent in the way this was taken so you can see it in its most prominent view further away on the left and then zoomed in on the right. And so we've agreed to deal with leaving that as it is to be preserved in this process. Talk to Grace Whited, who's the staff planner leading that staff review in this case. That is all I have this evening. Glad to take any questions. So,
You mentioning the Comstock, Brian Harvey. Comstock Cottages Phase 2, in that out, I guess it would be a road that would pop out onto Comstock. I don't know if it's Boulevard Street.
yeah.
Is that going to happen?
I don't know when it's going to happen. You heard from Stacy Huggins on the last case, right? The lead time on these planning things is, I mean, from the time I'm involved to the time you're putting up foundations is years, and there's just so many moving parts. So I believe it's going to happen. It's a great project. It's priced right and it's proximate to the university. That was all of the discussion when we went through this. But it's still, they don't have a final map yet, which is a whole other set of the detailed engineering. I know you know that. So I believe it's going to happen.
And that road would come out on the north side of the railroad tracks and you would never cross. I don't know if you could.
That's exactly right. You cross the railroad tracks coming north and their entry is right there. It's a pretty direct north-south pipeline into that location.
Yeah, no, I think it'd be a great if that was able to connect that because again, because of the college and whatnot, and then the flow up and down, north-south.
It's essential to making it work.
Yeah.
I'm probably better able to answer that question.
Who are you?
Rob Fitzgerald. We are this close. The actual Comstock Drive improvements are approved. And there's much to my chagrin, are putting in a brand new rail crossing arms, more than just improving. It's going to be brand new. I didn't need to be, but
I tried arguing with the railroad, and that's one of the reasons why we're still working on this. I just, it's, you don't fight with the railroad. So that is very close to being done. Our first final map is almost complete. Just for your information, we've reduced density by 20% on that phase of the project. It's all going to be more single family looking, like before it was townhomes. That'll all be maximum 2-story, more single family like. That is going to happen anytime.
Okay, now just to go backward, you got a permit to, or you've got an easement to go across the railroad tracks?
Oh, yes, that's always been there. We're using
The existing one on Comstock.
Yes.
Okay, I thought for a second there you got a new one. I was like, wow, that'd be very impressive.
I had a crossing approved once upon a time, but the approval lapsed, and believe me, it took me 5 years to get it the first time. Now it's just more difficult. It's almost impossible. But this project it's interesting following the previous one, because this is really geared to serve North Valley business and with what's going on up there employment wise. There's not enough housing. We really need a mix. It is an increase, and not a major increase in density, by the way. It's just 3 units an acre increase, but it's going to allow me to build. Right now we're building 3 and 4 bedroom homes. It's going to allow me to build 1 and 2 bedroom duplex, fourplex type structures, which is the mix that the master plan is looking for. It's going to provide a niche that's not being filled right now adequately for your workforce housing. There's a new word out there. Instead of affordable housing, it's attainable housing. Affordable comes with too many misconceptions, but we're trying to get housing that people need. I mean, I'm a developer. I'm not doing this out of kindness. I'm doing it because there's a desperate need, and we need to build what people want. And there's plenty of single family being built. But there's not a lot of what I want to do. The zoning only allows 2-story structures, so this is not like there's going to be massive apartment complexes going up. We're just going to do duplex, fourplex, triplex type product, but 1, 2, 3 bedroom, heavy on the smaller side, because that's not what's being provided right now.
With that new avenue going north-south and through the Comstock phase 2, since it's going to be right to the college, you're going to be having like bike lanes.
Oh,
and
yes.
the ability to.
And maybe you all probably more ahead of this than me. When we first started this concept, I don't want to say how many years ago, one of the big impediments in a lot of minds was, well, bicycles, yeah, but who's going to ride up and down the hill? Well, now with the electric bikes, I got to tell you, that's a brand new world. And we see a lot of that going on. Also, there's going to be a tremendous amount of open space and buffering between all that open space you see between the southerly project and ours will remain. We're going to take and turn that all into a little more. Right now, it's just kind of informal trail through there. We're going to make that park, dog park, maybe a little extra parking for some of the existing neighborhoods, and have interconnectivity and park all in that area. Probably something to the tune of 20 acres.
Well, that's good. Yeah, because those go, I don't know, not everybody knows about this, but that connects then to the University Ridge Park as well. If you can kind of go a long ways, and there's a lot more foot traffic
No
now.
vehicular connection, but that's where everybody goes now anyway.
Yeah, it's a lot of foot traffic.
But we're going to improve it, make it a little more sophisticated, a little more like a real walking park than it is now. And neighborhood serving really is what we want to do. Make it more attractive. We have some park requirements within the existing project, but it kind of inadequate, I think, a little bit. What we can do up here is going to be a lot more user-friendly and neighborhood-friendly. So pretty excited about it. The need is just incredible. The county, I mean, the city, bless their souls, have been trying to get affordable housing built. Very difficult for a city to do that. We can. And
Don't mean to take up all the time. I have one more follow-up on that. So that north-south connection that goes into Comstock, there's that underpass under McCarran,
yes,
which is very narrow, kind of like an old school underpass.
It's gonna
Is there-
get bumped out.
yeah, that all.
is it? I mean, I guess there's no,
It's all been conditioned for a bike lane,
Yes.
additional capacity, a sidewalk on one side. It's all been. That was done with Comstock Phase 1 approval,
I think they call it a sharp.
38 months ago.
Yeah,
okay, no, that's good to hear. And it does get icy there, so it's very narrow right now, so.
yeah, we're improving all of that through there. No, there's gonna be no parking. The road's all getting widened. The crossing's getting improved dramatically. I don't even know what that's gonna cost yet. They haven't told me. We're gonna eliminate parking through there. It's gonna be a completely different atmosphere in that regard and very bike friendly.
Good.
And like I say, nowadays, and I don't think enough emphasis has been put on it, we're just starting to explore it. That is a major means of transportation now, for short distances. I mean, my wife just bought one and I was done riding bikes. I mean, it just, at that point where I'm not in any condition to do it, get on that. And I look like, I'm ready for the French Olympics. And anyhow, very excited. I am. I really am. This is going to be filling a drop in the bucket of the major need, but you got to start somewhere. But it's just like I said, once again, it's very interesting, the project preceding me. That's where this is going. We'll be serving a lot of that up there with the reverse commute, which is also interesting. But I got to tell you, the one thing I was concerned about getting here on time today, I don't know what's going on, but I had absolutely no problem. To drive north, well, they're doing something right out there because it was remarkably quick. Anyway, I've said any other questions?
It's your show.
Are there any more questions from that?
I drive on Virginia Street. I'm Jared. The question is, I've seen grading happening there down from your project, and I thought there was going to be access into that from Virginia Street, but no, help me out what that grading is.
That's utility access.
Elevation change, too much elevation change, not enough distance to make grades work.
We're bringing utilities across.
So I don't have my phone, so I was trying to understand, Comstock Drive goes down, where does it go down to connect? Does it goes to the university?
What you're talking about happens right there, right where that little white patch across from Talus is. And you can.
Yeah, that little shed, our house.
Yeah, utilities come across right there, but we had a crossing in that vicinity once upon a time, but it went away when we couldn't build it during the recession, and the approvals lapsed, and it just.
Was the railroad part of that too?
Yeah, it was very difficult. In order to get a new crossing, you have to close two. And I don't need to say how that.
No, but this traffic flow goes down and it continues along Virginia Street all the way down to McCarran. Is that what it is?
No, it goes
under
over here to Comstock Boulevard, which is.
Yeah.
It does this.
Okay.
To here. If that helps.
Okay.
Then it goes under McCarran,
Okay.
existing overpass.
Got it.
And then it's the main route for traffic here is going to be up and out to north.
Okay.
That's where we'll be directing it. And I think that's where the major demand for it's going to be.
So it'd be like another fork in the roundabout, probably?
Yeah, you can kind of see a road weaving through there in the background.
Yeah.
It's just dirt. It's a sewer road. That's going to be that's going to bring the traffic up to the roundabout.
Okay.
And then out.
Got it. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Thanks.
Okay, B23 LDC 220086, Mickey Storage Shed.
Hello, my name is Randy Mickey, and I just recently constructed a storage shed at my residence. And let's make the setback requirement on the east side of the structure. Second. Application with the planning commission for a major deviation, the structure. The site map points north, so the storage shed is on the top there. The property line is on the east side. And it requires to be 5 feet. It's 3.4 feet. Filed application, everything else is good. The height of the building is good. Lot size is 11,000 square feet and allow 4,400 square feet of roof space. We have a total of 3,700 square feet of roof. The color scheme is the same as the primary residence. And the trim matches pretty well. The neighbor to the east, he signed a notarized affidavit that he's good with the distance of the shed. There's a picture of the shed there. This is those are top pictures are from Clear Acre Lane is behind the house. Middle left picture is a retaining wall, 28 inches on the north side of the shed. There's a 4-foot drainage. The whole back property drains into that concrete drainage ditch. And the drainage is good. Just asking for that a variance, a major deviation. There's the bottom pictures is the space between and fence. There's a concrete retaining wall, block retaining wall. It's 3 foot high, and then there's a 6-foot fence in the neighbor's property that above that. It's about 9 feet there. View from the street. See maybe 3 foot of the building structure. Touch the middle left there, that's the primary structure, the color and the trim, and then on the there is the storage shed color and trim. That's pretty close.
The bottom line is you built it too close to your neighbor's fence. Is that- Okay, and you got your neighbor to sign off on it?
Yeah.
I'm good. Oh, I'm sorry. John Briscoe again.
John.
Go ahead.
Was there any reason why they had a 5 foot? Is it just an arbitrary number that the city put out as an engineering staff? Or is there something specific for that?
Well, I had a contractor originally was going to build, and then anyway, I took it upon myself to build it. I did. I lined it up with the primary residence, the roof lines, for the stake happened.
So it wasn't like a fire safety issue or anything?
No, it's because it's a metal structure. Yeah, there's no fire issue, safety issue with it. Just
John, I can speak.
18 inches too close.
Carter Williams, assistant planner with the city of Reno. So our side setbacks are pretty consistent across the city from 5 feet. And it does match a little bit with our standard building separation as well, which is 10 feet. So it's assuming that 5 feet is going to be on each side.
Yeah.
From a fire safety perspective, from building code, they start having additional regulations at 3 feet. So that at this point, so from a fire perspective, it's acceptable.
Yes, Brian Harvey, just one question. You were talking about safety. Is that behind that shed? Is there an egress? Normal egress? Do people walk back there or is that,
No,
it's not a normal transportation, pedestrians or people or family?
no, it's a private residence, so.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no pedestrians or,
Well, I meant like your family. That's not like a regular form of egress for your family.
no.
Okay.
Renee,
Yes, sir.
my back does not allow me to sit for terribly, but I should have surgery before the next meeting. I can stay
All
for the
right.
rest of it. So, but anyway, so I'm an
You're gonna
excuse.
stand.
Thank you. Oh, again, John Briscoe. Okay. Good luck with surgery.
Good luck, John.
Any other questions?
I don't think so. Anybody else? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
For LDC 220087, North Virginia warehouse.
Hi everyone, my name is Monica and I'm with the Conics Design Group. We are the design team for this project. And I also have with me John Browning, who's the engineer for the project. So we are here today for approval of a major site plan review. We're still at the preliminary phase of the project. And the major site plan review was triggered for 2 reasons. The grading was above the 21 feet. Sorry. The grading resulted in a full slope of 21 feet, and City of Reno's threshold is 20 feet. So we're really off by 6 to 12 inches and in a small corner in the rear side of our property. And the second reason is the grading also disturbs a major drainway. However, it's already disturbed. On the project side, it's 2 vacant parcels and it's a total of 14.2 acres. And we're in the south side of North Virginia Street. So we are planning on building an industrial warehouse. If we take a look at that area, it already has a lot of warehouses. So we really fit the aesthetic of the neighborhood. And by zoning, we are in the industrial, commercial and mixed use suburban zones. So zoning wise, we're not requesting for any special considerations because industrial land use is permitted by right. I have here a concept drawing. And you can see we have a state-of-the-art building. It's 178,880 square feet. We have beautiful landscaping that surrounds the entire warehouse. Especially if you look at the left-hand side, we have a dense cover of evergreen trees. That's going to act as a screening for the residential areas. We have provided a lot of parking spaces, off-street parking spaces. We have 81 parking spaces and our trucks are going to go on the side and we have 25 truck docks. And that was the small portion of the side that really triggered this major site plan review where the grading is over, the bill slope is over 21, is around 21 feet. That little corner, I think that's the southwest part of the property. And that's the drainage way that's already disturbed. So we're gonna route it. We're creating a stormwater retention basin at 1 to 1.3 mitigation ratio, which actually improves the existing drainage conditions at this site. The retention basis will provide added time for the water to infiltrate the soil. So this development's gonna basically improve the drainage at this site. Here we have some elevations of what it's going to look like. It has a very modern and contemporary look, very fitting with our neighboring in warehouses. And that was all for our presentation. We're open to questions. Questions, John will have to answer.
Brian Harvey, so going back to that drainage, so is the drainage going underneath the building? Am I seeing that right, or is it going around it?
John Browning on the civil. So the shaded hatch in the middle is the existing, and it's halfway piped right now. Yeah.
Okay.
And so we're gonna pipe it around the building actually to reconnect it. The thicker dashed line, it didn't show up as well as we hoped on the slide, but going around. So you can see like coming around the building this way and that diagonal right there, that's that coming back in.
Okay.
Oh, got it.
So like, so this right now is already all like halfway piped. So it's kind of, it overflows the pipe that's there now. So it's kind of a mess what's going on right now. So we're hoping to clean that all up.
Okay,
Gets that working better.
right, and so you're gonna pipe it around over here to this retention
Yeah.
pond then?
No, the pond's in the triangle up in the corner.
Oh, okay,
We don't want to retain these flows because these are the flows we go through now. We're going to retain all of our on-site flows.
okay,
So we can get better water quality, get that infiltration back into the ground. So it's not going down in the flood basin. We're bringing this back to where it currently discharges and letting it move on its way. But right now, it's since it overflows that pipe, it picks up random sediments and stuff. So it should be improved.
Any other questions? No? All right, thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank
Thank you, everyone.
Committee member reports and announcements.
If that's something you want to announce. Is that what you want to speak about? You're safe or?
yeah.
that I wanted to announce, huh?
Good lead.
All right, Mark Miranda for the record. No, it's Bonnie asked me to bring it up about the SAVE program. And it's actually good after hearing from the lieutenant and you know, what their experience at the police department. Limited staffing, limited recruits. The SAVE program, it's Senior Auxiliary Volunteer Effort. And basically, the biggest hindrance to that is you have to be 50 years or older to volunteer for them. But it's a great program because it helps the Reno police out in a lot of things. When the calls go into Reno Direct on abandoned vehicles, neighborhood, things like that, the SAVE officers usually go out there and they mark the cars, they tag the cars, and they do a lot of the work that the police or parking enforcement used to do. So it saves them a lot of time. They also do, in fact, just recently they started doing speed surveys where people complain that there's too many speeders through their neighborhoods and stuff. We sit out there with a radar gun. We count the number of cars speeding. So then that helps the regular officers know what areas to concentrate on. They also do stop sign surveys, the same type thing where there's problems when people report them. Another big thing they do is work at City Hall. That's where I usually am 2 to 3 days a week for SAVE. And basically screen people, get them to the right people. And so there's a lot of things the community can volunteer with for SAVE that actually cut down on the need for police officers so that they can concentrate on more critical things that the city needs. And it's a great program.
Around here, they're ticketing handicap.
Yes. Oh, yeah. The handicap enforcement's a big part of that. And in shopping centers, things like that around the college area too, where you need a parking permit to park in certain areas, they take care of that too. So they take care of a lot of traffic type things that free the police up to do other things.
But we're always in need of these volunteers.
We are. And unfortunately, even though there is, I think it's 80 something volunteers they have right now, it's just like any other employer or anything else. You get constant call-ins, things like that, people not being able to make their shift. So it may sound like 80 something people is a lot, but it's not, because there's always shortages. Every day I get emails, asking to cover somebody's shift. And I think yesterday there was 7 of them that all of a sudden they didn't have anyone at the last minute. And well, like I say, it helps the city, it helps the police department. It's worthwhile, I get a lot of personal satisfaction out of it. And I get to spend a lot more time at City Hall. The people I like.
As a uniform, is that something purchased by the?
No, the police department provides it. Yeah, everything's provided for you that you need.
Vehicles.
Yes, yeah.
It's really a cool thing for, those folks that want to do something and
Yeah.
giving back, and
I've even seen you in your uniform.
Yeah.
At City Hall, and they're our security.
Yes, yeah.
And it's just been a good thing.
This is the first time I've heard of this
No.
program, like how, I guess, how does the city let people know about these things? Or am I just so blind, I miss it?
Yeah, usually it's the volunteers with the SAFE program that go out there and they promote it. And unfortunately, it's not always promoted as widespread as it should, because it would be easier to get people into the program if it was.
Do we have a flyer on it, Mark?
We do, and I don't have one on me, but in fact, we have them at City Hall, and we have booklets. And maybe we need a social media, thing on it. And
I think there are a lot of folks, like my HOA that
Right.
I swear nothing better to do, and volunteering
yes,
would be, and knowing what they can volunteer for, I think would be very helpful.
and actually, if you go on Reno Police's website, also there's a tab in there for the SAVE program, and it gives all the information.
That's fascinating. That's
So,
great.
so you can find out a lot of things from there.
What's the senior fest they're represented there?
Yeah, usually any special events, they go out there and they promote it.
They just volunteered at the recent mayor's conference, US Conference of Mayors.
Right.
And they used a lot of the volunteers,
They did, and
the save.
and so like I say, it not only, helps the city, helps the police department, but you can get personal satisfaction out of knowing you did your part, your little part.
And women are accepted as well.
Right, there are a lot of women, and the only requirement to join is that you will volunteer a minimum of 16 hours per month. And 16 hours per month is nothing, when you think about it, because they're usually only 4-hour shifts. And you pick the days, you pick the times, you pick the type of things you want to do. And so it's easy to find something that fits you.
What's the acronym stand for again?
Senior Auxiliary Volunteer Effort.
Okay, that's what I couldn't figure. Thank you.
And they've been in existence with Reno PD for 25 years now, so.
Oh,
It's really a cool program, and thank you for your service there.
Thank you.
It's been great.
Would it be helpful if I sent the flyer to everyone?
Sure, of course.
Okay, anything else? Future agenda items? None? Public comment? None? All right.
Madam Chair, I will say this.
Yes, sir.
Mark, thank you for your commitment here. We will miss you. Nick, congratulations. You can tell, we'll tell Amy you did an adequate job filling in for her. And also, Miss Bonnie, I wanted to tell you that I did go and try out the Diamond Interchange and it's wonderful. So for the part that the city played for it, I know it wasn't that much, but for the part that you played, please relay my condolence or my congratulations because it's wonderful. So.
Well, thank you. And there's going to be a ceremony next week at some time. I don't have it for the kind of the grand opening. So there'll be that. And then other good stuff to come. Moving on to the next project.
Anything else?
I did have one question and
Yes, sir.
it's just a general thought. Because I missed the meeting where the chairman was chosen and my understanding is we were going to discuss it. So I'm just wondering out loud if that's still something we're going to discuss or if we're just holding off on it now.
I think it's a year program, so I don't know when the year is up. Yeah, there's still a couple more months.
No, I did not say that.
We kick up in September, October. I forgot. It felt like it was fall.
It was towards the end of the year, wasn't it?
It was that October. I came from Seattle, so September, right?
I think it was September.
Yeah.
I can let Amy know to look into it.
Yep. So
And we need more members. With Mark leaving, we still have 8 and we have the ability to have 11, I believe, and 2 alternates, which would be really nice if we could get the alternates. We used to have them.
Yeah.
I was an alternate when I first started years ago.
So.
You're just a glutton for punishment because you stayed with us.
Okay, can I have a motion for adjournment, please?
so moved.
There's a, okay. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
We didn't vote for it, but.
Right, I know, right?
No, wait, I didn't
Decide.
I heard the second, I didn't hear the votes.
Aye. There you go. Mark it down. It was unanimous.
Mark, are you leaving town?